Hello and welcome back to the Ashley Ventry Show. I'm Ashley, your licensed child development specialist, your toddler development bestie, and apparently today, your personal TV critic. Because that is exactly what we are going to talk about in this episode, and I'm not even a little bit sorry about it. Okay, so last episode we talked about all screen time. The guidelines, the meltdowns when the TV turns off, the apps, the repeat viewing situation. And I got so many messages after that episode from mamas saying things like, okay, well, what should we actually be watching? And can you please just tell me which shows are good so I can stop guessing? And I thought, yes, I can do that. Because honestly, this is a conversation I have been wanting to have for a long time. Because as a child development specialist, I have very strong feelings about what is going on your child's screen. And today I'm going to share them freely, without apology, and with love. We are going to talk about 6 shows today. 4 that I personally love, and 2 more that I think you need to know about. I'm going to tell you what makes each show developmentally valuable, not just that it's good, but why it's good. Because when you understand the why, you can make better decisions for your specific child. And then at the end, we are going to talk about a couple of shows that are very popular right now that I have some, let's call them nuanced thoughts about. Okay, let's get into it. Can we talk about Little Bear for a moment? Because I feel like the show does not get nearly enough credit, and it is one of the most underrated gems in children's television. And I want to stand on that hill all day long. For anyone who isn't familiar, Little Bear is an animated show based on the beloved children's books, the same author who gave us Where the Wild Things Are. The show follows Little Bear, a sweet young bear, as he goes on gentle everyday adventures with his family and friends. His mother and father, his friend Duck, cat, hen, and owl, and his human friend Emily. And that's basically it. There are no villains. There are no chase sequences. There is no dramatic music. It is just a little bear living a little life and finding wonder in ordinary things. And from a child development specialist's perspective, that is exactly what a toddler brain needs. Here's what I love about Little Bear developmentally. First, the pacing. The show is slow, beautifully, intentionally slow. And I mean that as the highest possible compliment. The episodes give children's brains time to process what they are seeing and hearing before the next thing happens. There is no rapid fire editing. There are no quick cuts designed to keep a short attention span engaged through constant novelty. Little Bear trusts children to sit with a moment, and that trust actually builds attention span rather than eroding it. Second, the language. Little Bear is rich with vocabulary and natural conversation. The characters speak in full, complete sentences. They have real back and forth exchanges. They express their feelings with words. For toddlers who are in the thick of language development, hearing that kind of rich-paced, expressive language modeled consistently is genuinely valuable. It's like a language bath every time they watch. Third, the emotional tone. Little Bear is warm and secure. The family relationships in the show are loving and present. Little Bear's mother and father are patient, engaged, and kind. For toddlers whose nervous systems are developing and who regulate partly through the emotional environment around them, watching content that is calm, safe, and warm actually supports nervous system regulation. Compare that to content that is designed to be maximally exciting and stimulating. Those shows put little nervous systems into stimulation, not through it. And finally, the imagination. So much of Little Bear's world is driven by imaginative play and storytelling. He makes up adventures, he pretends, he creates. That's exactly what kind of thinking we want to be nurturing in young children. Little Bear is an absolute gem, mamas. If you haven't put it on for your toddler yet, please do. Show number 2 is Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood. Okay, Daniel Tiger, my beloved. Where do I even begin? If you've listened to this last episode, you know I already mentioned Daniel Tiger as one of the gold standard shows for toddlers. And today I want to go deeper on why, because there is actual research behind this show that is genuinely incredible, and I want to share it with you. Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood is produced by Fred Rogers Productions and is the animated sequel to, you guessed it, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. It follows Daniel Tiger, a 4-year-old tiger, through everyday experiences in the neighborhood of make-believe. Each episode focuses on a specific social-emotional skill or life situation. Things like starting a new school, managing anger, being disappointed, sharing, or dealing with a new sibling. And each lesson is reinforced through a short, catchy song that children can actually remember and use. I remember when my girls were little, we used to repeat his songs in real life. Like, for example, if my children were sick and they were running around the house, we would sing the song, Rest is best, rest is best. And also, if I had to drop my toddlers off at somebody's home to be watched, we'd say, Adults come back, they come back. This reinforced it in real life situations, and my daughters loved it, and it helped them get through their emotions. Sorry, I'm not the singer, so I apologize if I have exposed you to my tone deaf singing. One of the things I find so fascinating about this show from a clinical perspective is that it was essentially designed as a social story in television form. If you work in early childhood education or therapy, you know what a social story is. It is a narrative that walks a child through a specific situation, what to expect, how to feel, and what to do. Daniel Tiger does this in every single episode for every single scenario. It is therapeutic storytelling, and it is brilliant. Now, let's talk about the research because this is where I get genuinely excited. Studies show that children who watch Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood have higher levels of empathy, are better at recognizing emotions, and are more confident in social situations. That is not marketing language, that is peer-reviewed research. And let me tell you, when I would go into homes for early intervention, you better believe it, I brought my Daniel Tiger little figurines and trolley and even his little toilet in, because we practice everyday life feelings and things that toddlers are practicing. And here's something even more remarkable. A UCLA study surveyed 150 teenagers ages 13 to 16 who were toddlers when the show first aired. Researchers found that 71% remembered feeling happy while watching the show. 57% said their most memorable lessons were about understanding and managing emotions. And 21% specifically mentioned that they still use calming techniques they learned from Daniel Tiger today. They are teenagers, still using what they learned from a cartoon tiger when they were 3 years old. Let that sink in. The research also found that the benefits were strongest when parents watched the show with their child and talked about what was happening on the screen. It was the combination of watching and conversation that produced the biggest increases in social skills. Neither watching alone nor conversation alone was enough on its own. So, if you are already a Daniel Tiger household, keep watching with your kids. Ask them about what Daniel is feeling, sing the songs together, You are doing something genuinely powerful for their development. And if you are not yet a Daniel Tiger household, Mama, what are you doing? Put it on today. Show number 3 is Sophia the First. Okay, Sophia the First. This one holds a special place in my heart because it is a princess show that actually has something real to say. And that combination is rarer than what you think. For anyone who hasn't seen it, Sophia the First is a Disney Junior animated series about Sophia, a young girl whose mother marries a king, and suddenly she goes from being a regular village girl to being a princess. And the show follows her as she navigates this new world, learning what it actually means to be royalty, figuring out relationships, dealing with jealousy from her new step siblings, and learning to use her magical amulet wisely. What I love about Sophia from a developmental standpoint is that kindness is genuinely at the center of every episode, not just mentioned as a value, actually demonstrated, wrestled with, and chosen in real circumstances where another choice would have been easier. Sophia makes mistakes. She chooses wrong sometimes, and then she figures out the right thing and does it. That is such a healthy model for young children. Not a perfect character who is always kind, but a real character who is learning to be kind even when it's hard. The show also does something really well that a lot of children's programming gets wrong. It shows consequences. When characters are unkind or dishonest or selfish, things don't work out for them. And when Sophia chooses integrity, things do work out. Children are constantly building their internal model of how the social world works. And a show that consistently reinforces that kindness leads to connection and that selfishness leads to isolation is doing genuinely valuable character work. There are also some really wonderful friendship dynamics in the show. Sophia navigates social complexity, new friendships, old friendships, being tested, feeling like an outsider, learning to speak up. These are all things your toddler and young child is going to encounter in real life. And watching Sophia navigate them gives children a mental framework and vocabulary for their own experiences. The pacing is appropriate, the content is age respectful, and honestly, the music is genuinely good. Sophia First gets 2 thumbs up from this child development specialist, and I will hear nothing against her. Show number 4, Bluey. Of course, Bluey made my list. The show that made the entire world fall in love with the cartoon Australian dog family and then cry unexpectedly in the finale and then have to go sit quietly for a minute. If you have somehow not seen Bluey, first of all, where have you been? But Bluey is an Australian animated series about Bluey, a 6-year-old blue heeler puppy, her younger sister Bingo, and their parents Bandit and Chili. Each 7-minute episode follows the family through everyday life and play and the small but significant moments of childhood and parenting. And the reason Bluey has taken the world by storm is because it is genuinely extraordinarily good. Not just for children, but developmentally, structurally, and emotionally good in a way that is almost unheard of in children's television. Let me tell you what the research says about this one because it's compelling. Researchers analyzed all 150 episodes of Bluey across 3 seasons and found that nearly half of all episodes featured resilience as either a primary or secondary theme. This show frequently portrays resilience-building behaviors aligned with established development frameworks, especially through family relationships and coping strategies. Developmental scientists who study children describe Bluey as exemplifying what years of child psychology research have made clear, that children learn through play. Oh, that is music to my ears. The show illustrates a variety of age-appropriate caregiving practices that parents and caregivers can use in everyday life with their children. Bluey's rich dialogue encourages attentive listening and helps children connect language to ideas and emotions. The slow-paced, articulate conversations are easy for young ears to follow, especially compared to fast-paced or overstimulating content. Unlike many children's shows that rely on fast-paced editing, flashing colors, and nonstop action, Bluey takes a different approach. Its soft colors, natural dialogue, and moderate pacing create a calming experience that fosters comprehension and emotional engagement. And one of the things I think is most powerful about Bluey from a parenting perspective is what it models for the parents watching alongside their children. Bandit and Chili are not perfect parents. They get tired. They make mistakes. They sometimes just really need 5 minutes. And then they show up anyway. They get on the floor and they play. They follow their children's lead. They repair when they get it wrong. Watching Bluey is honestly like watching a masterclass in connected parenting. And it hits differently when you're in the thick of toddlerhood and you needed to see that modeled. Bluey earns every single bit of its reputation. It is developmental gold, and it is also just genuinely beautiful television. Okay, 2 more child development specialist shows you need to know about. Okay, I want to add 2 more to your watch list because I think they deserve some time in the spotlight. The first is Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, the original. I know. Some of you are thinking, Ashley, that show is ancient. And yes, it is first aired in 1968. And it is still one of the most developmentally sound pieces of children's media ever created. Fred Rogers was doing slow, intentional, emotion-first children's television before anyone had the research to explain why it worked. Every episode is built around a feeling. Every episode includes imagination, music, and a warm adult presence. It is timeless for a reason, and it is available to stream, and your toddler will love it. The second is Puffin Rock, a nature documentary series for young children, following a little puffin chick named Ona and her baby brother Baba on an island where they live. This show is stunning visually, narrated in most gentle and engaging ways, and introduces young children to the natural world with warmth and wonder. It is quiet. It is beautiful. It is the exact opposite of overstimulating. And from a sensory and nervous system regulation perspective, it is one of the most genuinely calming shows I have ever seen for young children. If you have a toddler who tends toward dysregulation or sensory sensitivity, put Puffin Rock on and watch what happens. You're welcome. Now, about Cocomelon and Miss Rachel. Okay. Here we are. And I want to say first, I am about to be very honest, and I'm saying this with love, genuine love for your children and for you. Please do not come for me. Let's talk about Cocomelon first. Cocomelon is one of the most watched children's channel on YouTube and Netflix on the entire planet. Millions of children watch it every day, and I understand why parents reach for it. It's colorful, it's musical, it's immediately engaging, and it keeps toddlers completely transfixed. And the last part is exactly what concerns me as a child development specialist. Cocomelon is designed to maximize engagement through constant sensory stimulation. The colors are extremely bright and saturated. The music is fast and repetitive. The editing cuts are rapid. The scene barely settles before something new is happening. Everything about the production is designed to hold a young child's attention through novelty and stimulation rather than through meaningful content or narrative. And I'm sorry to say, they do this to make money and to keep your children on their platform even longer. The problem is that a toddler's brain is not designed to process information at that pace. When the content moves faster than a young brain can process, the brain essentially stops trying to process and just reacts. And over time, content that requires patience and slower engagement, like reading a book or listening to a story or sitting through a quieter show, starts to feel unbearable because it can't compete with the dopamine hit of constant stimulation that Cocomelon is giving your child. Some families report that their toddlers become extremely difficult to manage after Cocomelon. Dysregulated, unable to transition, resistant to anything less stimulating. And from a nervous system's perspective, that makes complete developmental sense. I'm not here to shame any parent who has put on Cocomelon to get through a hard morning. I have even been there. We have all been there. But if it is a daily staple and you are noticing your child is more dysregulated, more screen dependent, or having harder transitions off screens in general, this is worth paying attention to. Now, Miss Rachel. Oh, Miss Rachel. Sweet, enthusiastic, genuinely well-intentioned Miss Rachel. The internet loves her. Parents love her. And I'm about to say something that may make some of you even gasp. And I need you to hear me out before you close this episode. Miss Rachel has some genuinely good qualities. She uses speech therapy techniques. She encourages interaction. She pauses and waits for children to respond. From a language development standpoint, some of what she does is sound. But, and this is a big but, Miss Rachel is loud. She is very high energy. She is very stimulating visually and orally. The production has become significantly more intense over time. More colors, more excitement, more everything. And for toddlers who are sensitive to sensory input, which as a child development specialist, I can tell you is a significant percentage of children, Miss Rachel can actually be overstimulating in a way that works against regulation rather than supporting it. Please do not come after me. I know she has an army. I respect the army. I am simply giving you my professional child development perspective, and you are going to do with it what you will. I trust you. The bottom line is this. There is a difference between a show that engages a child through meaning, story, connection, and a show that engages a child through sensory intensity and stimulation. Both will keep your toddler's eyes on the screen, but they are doing very different things to their developing brains while they do it. Okay, let me bring it all home for you. The shows I love, Little Bear, Daniel Tiger, Sophia the First, Bluey, Mr. Rogers, and Puffin Rock, all share a set of characteristics that make them developmentally sound. They are slow enough for young brains to process. They use rich, natural language. They model real emotions and social situations in age-appropriate ways. They build towards something, a lesson, a feeling, an understanding. They calm the nervous system rather than activate it. And they respect the intelligence and emotional capacity of young children. When you are choosing what to put on for your toddler, I want you to ask yourself 3 questions. Does this show move at a fast pace my child's brain can keep up with? Does it show my child something true about feelings, relationships, or the world? And how does my child's body feel, and behave after they watch it? Those 3 questions will tell you everything you need to know. You are not just choosing entertainment when you choose what your toddler watches. You are choosing the environment your child's developing brain is going to spend in time. And you deserve to make that choice with real information. Thank you so much for being here today. If this episode was helpful, and I really hope it was, will you share it, screenshot it, tag me on Instagram, send it to a group chat? Every share helps another mom feel more confident and less alone in this whole thing. And if you disagree with anything I said, especially about Miss Rachel, my DMs are open, respectfully. I mean it. I'll see you next week. You are doing such a great job. Keep going.